I speak like a girl from the block.
And again.
I grew up first generation in the Bronx.
And again.
Girls from the Bronx are welcome everywhere.
In fact.
Yes, I would agree with all of you on the MAGA side saying AOC lied about being from the Bronx. We all know AOC lied. She's from Yorktown. She's in the Yorktown yearbook.
I just think it's a bold-faced lie. And I saw the attacks on the president and her claims that she's a big, tough Bronx girl. The fact of the matter is she grew up in Yorktown. She was on my track team. And everybody in our community knows this is just a bold-faced lie.
Yes.
I know exactly what neighborhood AOC grew up in. I was a supervisor there for 3 years. And I can tell you that it is nothing like the Bronx. Yeah. You know, we were on the same track team. I was a senior. She was a freshman. Our paths didn't cross too much. But, you know, again, the fact of the matter is she grew up in Yorktown. She's a product of Yorktown. To sit there and say that she's a Bronx girl is just patently ridiculous.
She's been exposed. She's a communist. So we expect a communist to lie. But AOC is not the only one lying. Because now we have Pam Bondi, who, if you remember when she was on Jesse Waters, Pam Bondi says there's well over 250 victims.
A lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, is when can we see them and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, you know, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah, what you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay, well, we'll
along
look for
with his
that.
Co-defendant.
Absolutely, and he had help. That's for
He
sure.
sure did.
And we're supposed to believe that Jeffrey Epstein is the only one that was molesting these 250 victims. And then we had President Trump attempting to try to shame us from talking about Epstein.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well.
I want to get into this Epstein thing a little bit. I think the American people are very curious about who's on this list or these lists. You have been doggedly trying to get all the information. And now we learn, thanks to you, that you've been stonewalled by people in New York. Do you want to explain that?
Yes, Mark. So as you know, we released about 120 pages of documents, and I started asking for these documents right when I came into office and before Kash Patel was in there. So I ended up getting about 120 pages. We carefully redacted them, of course, to be sure the 254 young girls, women who are victims of sex crimes and sex trafficking, their personal information was redacted and out of there to protect them. So I'm going through. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively, the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
I'm gonna be your worst nightmare if you think you're gonna lie to me. I hate a politician trying to lie to me, and if I catch them lying and then they try to shame you into talking about something. This is classic CNN, MSNBC. Oh, come on. That's old news about Joe Biden cognitive decline. That's what President Donald Trump tried to do to protect Pam Bondi by saying, "Are we still talking about Epstein? You damn Skippy. We're still talking about Epstein. And we're going to be talking about Epstein until you get out of office, too, until you give us what the hell we want." Oh, I love it when they're telling us AOC is lying. Of course she's lying. She's a communist.
And, you know, when people talk about, oh my gosh, like socialism this, socialism that, let's talk about capitalism, okay? What is capitalism? I think that capitalism and the idea of capitalism gets confused by a lot of people. I think capitalism, a lot of people think about capitalism and they're like, oh, capitalism, that means businesses, right? That means a free market, right? That means competing for having different products compete on the market, right? That's what capitalism is, right? That's not what capitalism is. You can have free market economies with mixed economies, which mixed economies exist. You can have free market economies with democratic socialist businesses. What on earth is a democratic socialist business? And a perfect example of that is worker cooperatives. So worker cooperatives are, if you ever go to Vermont or if you go to upstate New York, there'll be grocery stores that are employee owned or they are cooperative, which means that people own the shares and workers own the shares in the company. So a more democratically, quote unquote, socialist business would have workers on the board of the corporation.
All communists lie. And 99.9% of all Democrats are communists. And those who supporting the communists are nothing but dumb sheep. But why is Pam Bondi and Kaz Patel and the rest of them lying about Jeffrey Epstein? None of it makes any damn sense. It's all been a lie. They say AOC is going to run for office in 2028. If we're dumb enough to allow AOC to be elected, we get what we deserve. She's endorsing Comrade Zoe, is what I like to call him, the fella running for mayor down in New York.
What the purpose is about this entire project, it's not simply to raise class consciousness, but to win socialism. And obviously raising class consciousness is a critical part of that. But making sure that we have candidates that both understand that and are willing to put that forward at every which moment that they have, at every which opportunity that they are given. We have to continue to elect more socialists. And we
go further toward the Vienna model. We'll have to go beyond the market. We can establish community land trusts to gradually buy up housing on the private market and convert it to community ownership. We can give tenants a right of first refusal to buy out their landlord.
We have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. There are also other issues that we firmly believe in.
He's a flat-out communist, and he said it. He wants to seize means of production. But I'm still caught up on the ones who said it was coming in for reform. They said it was going to clean up the deep state. The hunted is going to become the hunter.
You know, it's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing?
Oh, I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, you know, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but he released the names, right?
Well, that was a lie. And I know when somebody's lying to me, and it's got something to do with character. If you would look me in my face and flat out lie to me, I don't know if I can be able to trust you about any damn thing. And no matter how much Trump tries to protect Pam Bondi, that just makes him look complicit to the whole lie. That makes him look like a fraud by trying to protect her. Don't insult our intelligence by telling us it was nothing in the files. She said it was 250 victims. Jeffrey Epstein is not the only one that was molesting these children. So we need to know who you're protecting. Don't tell me that Mr. Alexander Acosta, the fellow who prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein, who said that his statement was, it's above his pay scale. His statement was that you need to back up off Epstein. So who was giving that order? That's not a made-up story. So we need to know what Cash Patel and Pam Bondi and President Trump, Dan Bongino, what in the hell are they hiding? Maybe you are hiding some with the Mossad, because none of this makes any sense. You're going to give me a so-called videotape with nothing on it, tell us that every night 1 minute is missing, which leads you to know that somebody could sneak in then. Also, James Comey's daughter, who prosecuted Maxwell, said that they lost the tape. Now you found the tape. You really think this makes any sense to us? And the explanation makes no sense. Then you got the press secretary doing her impersonation of Karen Jean-Pierre, giving us some cockamamie bull story. All of you are looking incredible. Just like AOC is looking incredible. She's never been credible. You're going to giving us the Joe Biden's answers. And you think we're stupid enough to believe it because we've been supporting you. I will not blindly support any damn politician. When you tell me something that doesn't make any damn sense, you can damn well believe I'm going to call you out on it. And I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep bringing it up until the President Trump's team comes clean. I don't care what Clay and Buck says. I don't care what any supporter says. Nobody's supporting him more than a lot of them jumped on the bandwagon late. I've been supporting Donald Trump since 2016, but I'll be damned if I let you lie to my face and tell me not to talk about something that you guys have been talking about. You kept bringing it up. You said we was going to clean the house. You said we was going to prosecute. There's plenty of crimes. We can start with perjury. James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Loretta Lynch, Hillary Clinton. We can start with Big Tish, who we know committed mortgage fraud. So don't lie to us, and you think you're going to get away with lying with us. We're not going to let you off the hook. Just like we wouldn't let AOC or Bernie Sanders or any of these communists off the hook. You're not going to tell us there was nothing else in the Epstein files and we just going to believe that. We're not. You're going to have to give us more than that. We're not buying what Pam Bondi is selling. Pam Bondi is a DEI hire. She's not very smart. So it must have mean that she did some Kamala Harris doings in order for her to get the position she's got right now. Because I'm not buying if you think I think Pam Bondi is smart. I've never been a Pam Bundy's fan, but she's not even a good liar. She's gonna get the tape. She's talking to the people so she can get the tape, the missing minute. You guys have had all this time to investigate that. You should have came out with that. You can't come up with a better lie than that. I don't trust all these other MAGA folks talking about, I trust Cash Patel. That means you're stupid, because I don't trust Cash Patel. I don't trust Dan Bongino, because they was the one calling out, quote, the government gangsters. So you better give me something better than that, because I'm not buying this BS.